Leila Singh, your podcast host, and I'd like to welcome you to the My Brand HQ podcast, all things personal branding for career acceleration. This podcast is for talented, ambitious career professionals like you who are wanting to be perceived as a thought leader, to be top of mind to those that matter, and to make an impact and stand out, be that in your team, your organization, or your industry, and to be inspired by other successful leaders. I will be interviewing high-achieving career professionals who have carved out a successful career in their field and are open to sharing their career journey, their challenges, their learnings and insights with you, someone who is looking to establish your personal brand and accelerate your career. Through my personal branding and coaching practice, I enable career professionals primarily in the technology industry to earn more money, to increase their salary. In fact, I spoke to all of my past clients that I've worked with over several years and learned that actually overall, they've received an average of 47% increase in their package. Would that be a great place to be? They've also all achieved at least one, if not more, promotions or moved on to a higher level in their career at another organization. And they're looking to advance their career while showing up as the best version of themselves. If this sounds like you, then do reach out to me and let's have a chat. And why do I do this? Well, during my corporate career spanning 25 years, I quickly realized that hard work alone was not enough to get me to where I wanted to be and the success that I strive for. And my belief is that hard work, coupled with creating and establishing a strong personal brand, can both influence and accelerate your career and get you to where you want to be. Hi there. During these challenging times, are you feeling stuck, wondering how to stand out from the crowd in your business, career, or organization, both on and offline? This episode is a little different. I was recently invited to speak at a masterclass hosted by the Institute of Directors London chapter, where I shared some strategies and actionable insights that can help you to build your personal brand and increase your visibility. So head over and hear what I had to say. I'm going to share a little with you on my take on personal branding, what it is, why it's important, and a few tips for you to take away. So first of all, what is personal branding? And Advita's covered some of this already. It's others' perceptions of you. It's your reputation amongst your peers and in your industry. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. And it's the feeling that one experiences when they meet you, when they work with you, and when they hear your name mentioned. Because remember, feelings create lasting perceptions. And why is personal branding therefore important? It's critical to understanding who you are, what you stand for, and what you want to be known for, both personally and professionally. And it's integral to all stages of your career or your business. So whether you're starting out or you're established, whether you're seeking to change role or advance your career, whether you're looking to be more visible or to be a more effective leader, or simply to create an industry profile. And most importantly, there are so many competitors in your space that you need to stand out. So it is time to start building and refining your personal brand so that you can create a strong competitive advantage. Before I share my 5 tips, I'd like to share with you a quote that is very pertinent, I believe, to the topic of personal branding. And it comes from a prevalent sales trainer called Zig Ziglar. And he said, "I have always said that everyone is in sales. Maybe you don't hold the job title of salesperson, but if the business you are in requires you to deal with people, then you, my friend, are in sales." And why do I share this with you? I share it because we all are working with other people. We're all interacting with other people day to day. And therefore, as Advita mentioned, we want people to know, like, and trust us, because that's when they want to do business with us. That's when they want to work with you, to have you in their team, to promote you, to hire you for the next opportunity. So we want people to be gravitating towards us, and therefore it's important to build a strong personal brand. So I'd like to share with you some key steps to building this. Number one is to get clear on your non-negotiable core values in business. Why is this important? It's important because we need to understand what drives our behavior and also enables us to make decisions more easily. So I'll give you an example. My top 4, let's say, core values are non-negotiable in the way that I show up, the way that I do business, in terms of my work ethic are, number 1, integrity. So integrity through everything that I do, every decision that I make. Number 2 for me is leadership. And what that means for me is being a leader in the way that I show up in my business and personally, but also in the way that I work with my clients to enable them to be more effective leaders. Number 3 is growth. And growth for me is about always investing in yourself to grow, to both personally and professionally, to learn more, to take risks, to step outside of your comfort zone. And that's also reflected in the work that I do with my clients and enabling them to grow and to show up as the best version of themselves. And number 4 for me in terms of my core values is excellence. And that is reflected in the way that I deliver my business, my services, and also the customer experience that people have when they come to me and when they work with me. So those are my core values. So what are they for you? Think about your work ethic, the way that you show up, what you do, what is non-negotiable for you in the workplace, because those are the things that help you to drive your decisions. And it's something we often don't give consideration to. So give some time to this, because when you get clear on what your core non-negotiable values are, they'll also help you to show up more congruently in everything that you do and therefore more authentically, but also to be aligned in your decision making and to make those decisions far more easier. Number 2, what do you want to be known for? You may remember I mentioned earlier about what people say about you when you're not in the room, people's perceptions of you. And often we believe that we know what people think of us because we know how we come across, but actually it's not necessarily always the same as the way that other people perceive us. So ask yourself the question, are your perceptions of how you currently come across aligned with how other people perceive you? I would invite you over the course of the next couple of days to reach out to 5 people in your network. And I'd mix it up a little. So maybe people that you report to or have in the past, someone who's your mentor, people in your peer group, and also maybe 1 or 2 people that have reported to you at some point. So look to aim for 5 people. Of course, you can make it more than that, and reach out to them and simply ask them to share with you in either 3 words or 3 sentences the first 3 things that come to mind when they hear your name mentioned. Now, it's unlikely that anyone's going to give you negative feedback. However, when you do receive that feedback and you elicit that information, ask yourself, are you happy with what people's perceptions are of you? And is that aligned with the way that you feel you're showing up? In other words, is there something there that nobody's mentioned about you that you truly believe is one of your core values and how you show up? And if that is the case, what do you need to then do to close that gap? Because we can get to influence other people's perceptions of us, but we need to start from the point of understanding how people perceive us before we can influence that, if we need to create that shift. So I invite you to do that over the course of the next few days. And number 3 is practice self-awareness. Why is this important? Because many people go through life almost unconsciously and unaware of their thoughts, their inner dialogue. And often the inner dialogue, the thoughts that we have are the biggest things that are holding us back from moving forward, from propelling ourselves forward in our career, in our business. And until we get tuned into that, that will continue to happen and that will result in self-sabotage. So what we can do differently is to practice self-awareness. And this is habitual. It's something we do over time. We continue to practice it. And how do we do that? We tune into or check in with ourselves on the thoughts that we're having and ask yourself, are these thoughts serving me in any given situation? You'd be surprised at what you come up with. And if you do this daily, at the end of a day, just check in with yourself. What thoughts were I having during that situation today? What could I have done differently? You'll start to become more aware of the thoughts that you're having. And also ask yourself, those thoughts that you realize you're having, would you speak to your 5-year-old child in the same way that you're speaking to yourself? I often ask my clients this, and they will always say no. Why? Because we always encourage children. We want them to rise, we want them to shine, we want them to be their best self. But we don't often talk to ourselves in that way. So start to bring that habit into your daily routines, because often we're talking about not being good enough, not being smart enough, not being attractive enough. And therefore, these are the things potentially that will hold us back. Number 4 is manage your state. Why is this important? It's important because, let me ask you this. How many times have you been about to enter a situation where you're feeling anxious, you're feeling stressed, worried, maybe even angry or unsure of yourself and lacking confidence in a particular situation? We all have those moments when something's not quite right, when we're feeling out of kilter a little bit and we're not showing up in the best possible way. But what can we do in that situation to influence that? Well, what we can do is we can breathe. It's really that simple. And people often laugh when I suggest this, but it's very, very powerful. So I would invite you, the next time you're entering a situation, whether it's a meeting, a Zoom call, a presentation, something where you're feeling anxious, stressed, frustrated even, take 3 slow, deep breaths. Breathe in for the count of 6, hold for the count of 3, and breathe out for the count of 6. And do this 3 times. And this will relax your entire physiology and result in a situation where you feel more grounded, you'll feel more in control and calm, which means you're showing up in the best possible way. And more importantly, it means that you'll show up with a very considered response to the situation you're in, to the questions that you're being asked, and anything that could trip you up potentially, which creates an entirely different experience to if you had shown up feeling anxious, stressed, worried, and not completely grounded and in control.
Got 1 minute, please, Leila.
Thank you, Vanessa, is to breathe. And finally, number 5 is to build connection. And building connection, as I mentioned earlier, what is personal branding? It's about the feeling that people have when they hear your name mentioned, when they work with you, when they meet you. So how can you do that? How can you build stronger connection? Express a genuine interest in other people and make eye contact, smile at people when you're talking to them. And particularly now in the remote working situation that many of you will be in, how can you do that effectively? Remember, have your camera at eye level. Many people I jump on calls with, they're looking down into the laptop, which is on the desk. So the camera is much lower and you're looking down at someone. And subconsciously, that feeling isn't great. So you want to have your camera eye level. You want to be talking to the camera, not talking to all the little faces on the screen, and to remember to smile and to check in, because this creates a greater connection for your audience, whether it's one person or many. So to summarize, the 5 tips for you to take away are to identify your core non-negotiable values in business. Number 2 is to get clear on what you want to be known for and elicit the perceptions of at least 5 people in your network and identify where there are gaps to close. Number 3 is to practice self-awareness, tune into your inner dialogue. Number 4 is to manage your state, to simply breathe. And finally, number 5 is to build a connection with others. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do subscribe to the show so you don't miss any future episodes. And remember to leave a review telling us about your key learnings and what you enjoyed the most. And do share this podcast with your friends and colleagues so we can spread the word on the importance of personal branding when it comes to your career advancement. And also ensure that others can benefit from these invaluable insights from many inspirational leaders. I will be eternally grateful. And if you are looking to earn more money, to get promoted, to secure your next role and advance your career, and would like me to support you personally on that journey to get you there, then reach out to me and let's arrange a chat. Alternatively, why don't you check out my personal branding launchpad, a group training and mentoring program. Finally, if you'd like to connect with me directly, then do reach out and direct message me on LinkedIn. You can find the link as well as any other resources mentioned in the show notes. I'll see you next time.